Welcome back, guys. What's up? This is Dheeraj. Today's topic, I wanted to talk about how every person has at least one villain. Um, what I mean by one villain is almost every single person that you'll ever meet, including yourself probably, has that one big problem that you feel like if this could solve, everything would be okay in my life. And you've convinced yourself that this one problem, it could be you're not tall enough. It could be you don't get paid enough. It's your boss is really mad at you. You don't feel appreciated enough by your partner. Maybe if your partner put in more effort. It's if I was only born in a different house, if I had different parents, if my parents were rich, if I had the silver spoon in my mouth. The whole there's a whole list of many different reasons that people think that their lives are not going okay. And generally, we can almost all of us point to just one problem, and we think if that one problem could be solved, everything would be okay. And I have to tell you, that's the biggest bunch of bullshit ever. Now, hear me out. I know you're thinking, what do you mean? If I did have all the money in the world, if I was tall enough, people would like me. If I could travel enough, my life would be interesting. But the truth is, here's the thing, right? It's actually an attention mechanism, right? You'll see a lot of rich people saying that money doesn't solve all the problems. You'll see a lot of people who travel and still they don't have that depth of inner being, I guess, where they feel completely fulfilled. You'll find a lot of people who have everything you want. Tall people who are depressed. You'll find people with the silver spoons committing suicides, doing drugs. It's a crazy world out there. But generally, what happens to us is because of that chronic attention towards that one problem. And by chronic, I mean you give it attention over a very long period, 3, 4, 5 months, or even longer. For some people, it's years of just focusing on that one problem and thinking this is what's limiting me. That's kind of what makes the problem big. Because here's the truth, you have to realize this really, really deeply. So take a pause and just think about this next part I'm going to say. Every thought you have needs you to think it. Okay? Every single thought you have needs you to think it. The only things you ever deal with are thoughts in your consciousness. Even right now, this video in front of you is not exactly, if you think about it, it's not exactly a video. Physics tells us most of it is mostly electrons, protons, and neutrons. So your brain right now is processing this video, showing it to you in a processed manner. So, like me, I am processed by your brain to look a certain way. All right? And therefore, I'm really a thought in your brain. You have to think about that for a sec to realize what I'm trying to say to you. And then you realize your problem is actually just a thought you've been focusing on for a very long time, thinking this is what limits me. When in truth, your attention to it is what limits you. Because think about this, you have a dark room, right? Whatever you shine a torch on, say for example, there's an object, this little coin that you can see, right? If this whole room was dark, and the only place the light shined on was this little coin, I would only see the coin. And your attention, your ability to see things, your ability to mentally see images, mentally focus on something is very much like this light. It can see whatever it wants to see. The room is still dark, and by dark room, I mean there's many different possibilities out there. But because of your constant attention that this coin is fucking my life up, it ends up fucking your life up. Because really, you see what you want to see, right? So, and this is the interesting part. Many people feel that they're very alone in their problems. Like, I'm not tall enough, everyone is tall. I don't have enough money, everyone has money, everyone has rich parents, they can travel, they can do all this cool stuff. And I cannot. Everyone has big cars and I don't. Everyone has great clothes and I don't. Everyone looks good and I don't. And we tend to really think that our personal problem, the one problem that we have, the biggest villain in your life, is a very personal villain that it's out here to just torment you for life. And that's absolutely bullshit. Because again, like the torch example, whatever you shine your light on is what's going to appear to you the most. Which is why even comparisons that you draw with other people are going to be drawn from the perspective of feeling like you don't have a certain thing that they have, and therefore you should feel even worse. Now, here's the reason this happens, right? Our mind has a negative bias. And any object of attention that tends to stay in attention for a little bit will stay there longer. And here's what I mean by it. If you've ever seen a person, have you ever been angry, right? You've been so angry, you're blind rage, and anyone who comes across, even if they have good intentions, you just want to lash out on them, like, shut the fuck up, get the fuck out of my fucking face, right? That tends to happen. You might shout at the wrong person, you might take out anger from one situation on another situation. And this is exactly how this works. This is how this spills over into your life. You look at that one coin, one problem, the lack problem you have. Maybe it's money, maybe it's being tall, maybe it's having not having enough good looks. And you tend to spill that over in every single area of your life, just like the angry person does. And that's because you've habituated your brain to think in a certain manner, which is why it keeps going down those tracks. So this is a difficult thing, right? Because it starts to gain momentum of its own. And because of this momentum, it tends to become something that's real. Even if it's not, it starts to present itself in circumstances so often that you really start feeling like this is absolutely real. Like the only reason my life really is fucked is because my partner doesn't love me enough, because I don't have enough money, because I'm not traveling, because people don't respect me. Any problem you have, I would like you to just ponder and notice that it's your really chronic attention, constant attention to that, shining that torch so brightly on that one area of your life, not noticing any of the other things in your life, that you're feeling absolutely pathetic about life many times because of that one problem. All right. So, really, you have to understand that what's really sailing this boat, the wind in the sails of this boat, the air in the balloon, so to speak, inside this problem, the balloon of your problem, is really your attention. You looking at it. And when I say this to you, some part of you is going to revolt. It's going to say no, but really, this problem is absolutely fucking real. There's proof everywhere for it. But the only reason there's proof for it is because you've been problem focused for so damn long. That's it. So if you feel like you're not getting paid enough, that whole complex of not getting paid enough, being undermined, and all these things come with their own little circumstances that will seem absolutely real to you. But the only reason these have existed so far in your life is because of your attention to them. And if you just, I know, if you just, it's very hard, I get it. When you're in a certain momentum, these things tend to take on a life of their own, right? The balloon will inflate itself after a certain point, because that's exactly what you've been doing for a long time, just paying attention to a problem. But here's what you need to do: find a way to chill the fuck out. And I mean, just completely take your attention off it. And for some people, that happens sometimes in a room alone, where you just tell yourself, I'm done with this, I don't want to think about this anymore. Or for some people, it happens when they vacation, when they travel. For some people, it happens when you meet new people and get new perspectives. But whatever it is that works for you, find that one activity or one thing that you can do that takes your attention off the whole problem completely. And I mean absolutely completely. For at least an hour, at least 2 hours, you have to be able to find a way to just get this off your mental table completely. Like, completely remove the problem from your brain, absolutely remove it from your field of vision. Let your torch go up and start shining on the other areas of your life in the dark room, so that you can see that there's way more to life that's actually going right for you. Here's how that helps, right? Because of being able to look at different elements in this room, suddenly you're reminded that a lot in life is actually going well. And you are now switching into more of a solution oriented mode, which is when your brain is now using its resources to find solutions. Instead of what's wrong, now you're looking for not only what's right, but how you can make things even better. And that's kind of the zone, that's kind of the switch you need to make. And once you make that switch, once you have enough space away from your problem, you'll suddenly realize that it's not exactly the biggest villain, as it is actually just the biggest paid attention to villain in your life. And that will really change the way you see things. So I hope that makes sense to you. It's not ignorance that I'm preaching here, of course. I'm not trying to tell you ignore your problem completely. So, for example, if your leg is amputated, it's not a smart idea to lie down on the road and say, I'm just gonna ignore it because I saw it in this YouTube video. Not a smart call. But many times what you really do need to do is just ignore the problem altogether. Get perspective. Get perspective as in get positive emotions out of somewhere else. Because the decisions that you'll be able to make in a positive space will be completely different. If You got the angry example, you'll understand what I meant when I said when you're angry, you tend to lash out on other people. And those decisions aren't exactly smart, right? Because later you regret them. Similarly, when you're in a positive space, you'll be able to see a problem from a completely different perspective, an absolutely different palette of colors. And by colors, I mean different palette of decisions will present themselves before you that weren't present before, that weren't there at all. And now you'll be able to see a problem in a different light. Probably you'll either be able to accept it or change it or not give a shit about it. All three of which are amazing because that's what we really want from life, right? To make it go well. So, anyway, I hope this helps you understand your big problem in life and how to go about taking care of it. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe the video, subscribe to the channel, excuse me, and have a good day. See ya.